Hello and welcome to today's lesson on designing materials. In this lesson, you will learn about the steps and the model in material design. Hope you will enjoy it. Now, let's have a look at the outline of what we are going to go through in this video. As you can see in this outline, this lecture will cover 6 main parts as follows. Number 1, why design materials. Number 2, defining objectives. Number 3, a model of materials design. Number 4, using the models. Number 5, activity sequencing. Number 6, hints for designing materials. And number 7, managing a materials writing project. So, why do we need to write materials? The reason is that materials fitting specific subject area of a particular learner might not be available in the market. Even when they are available, there might be some restriction like currency or import restrictions. Sometimes we also need to design materials for non-educational reasons like enhancing the reputation of an institution or an individual. Advantages of building materials development component into program include, firstly, relevance. Materials can be produced that are directly relevant to students and institutional needs and that reflect local content, issues, and concerns. Secondly, developing materials can help develop expertise among staff, giving them a greater understanding of the characteristics of effective materials. Sometimes, institutionally developed materials may enhance the reputation of the institution by demonstrating its commitment to providing materials developed specifically for students. One more perk of material development is its flexibility. Materials produced within institution can be revised or adapted as needed, giving them greater flexibility than a commercial coursebook. Before we come to the main part of material designing process, let's answer the question: what are materials supposed to do? Materials provide a stimulus to learning. They should contain interesting texts, enjoyable activities, opportunities for learners to use their existing knowledge and skills, and content which both learner and teacher can cope with. At the same time, materials are supposed to help to organize the teaching-learning process through various activities. Be clear, systematic, but flexible to allow creativity and variety. Reflect author's view of the nature of language and learning process and reflect the nature of the learning task. Materials also help broaden the basis of teacher training and provide models of correct and appropriate language use. It should not simply be a statement of language use, but the analysis of discourse. A material design model. The model consists of 4 primary elements: input, content, focus, language focus, and task. Elements of models of material design. Firstly, input. A text, a dialogue, video recording, diagram, or any piece of communication data. It provides stimulus material for activities, new language items, correct models of language use, a topic for communication, opportunities for learners to use the existing skills and knowledge of the language and the subject matter. Content focus. Meaningful communication in the classroom should be generated as language is the means of conveying information and feelings. Language focus. Good materials should involve not only communication activities, but also the knowledge of language necessary. Task. Materials should be designed to lead towards a communication task in which learners use the content and language knowledge they have learned. This is an expanded materials model. As you can see in the diagram, the four main components of materials are placed in the center of the diagram. Now, let's look at how we can use the model. Stage 1. Find your text based on these criteria. It should be naturally occurring piece of communication. It should be suited to the learner's needs and interests. It should be capable of generating useful classroom activities. Stage 2. Go to the end of the model. Think of the task the learner could do at the end of the unit. Details not needed to assess the potential of the text for classroom activities. Stage number 3. Go back to the syllabus and think if the task will benefit your learners or not. Stage 4. Decide what language structures, vocabulary, functions, content the input contains. Stage 5. Think of some exercises and activities to practice the items you have identified. Stage 6. Go back to the input and make any revision to make it more useful if possible. Stage 7. Go through stage from 1 to 6 again with the revised input. Stage 8. Check new materials against the syllabus and amend accordingly. Stage 9. Try the materials in the classroom. Stage 10. Revise materials with regards to classroom use. Activity sequencing is also a very important step that we should pay attention to. There are several ways to do it. We can arrange the activities from simple to complex, from more controlled to more open-ended, requiring more initiative, from providing knowledge or skills to requiring using them, from using receptive skills to using productive skills, input before action, from using productive skills to activate knowledge to using receptive skills to consolidate knowledge. Finally, here are some suggestions for designing materials. Use existing materials as a source for ideas, as this would save you a considerable amount of time writing the input text. Instead, you would only need to. It's better to work in a team. Designing materials is a very daunting task due to a myriad of factors you need to take into consideration, as well as the range of steps you have to go through. It would be way easier if you specialize in one task or one stage and let your colleagues be in charge of others. Don't set out to write materials on the first draft because it is just impossible. You have to evaluate the raw materials according to, for example, the course goals, the lesson objectives, and the learner needs. Don't underestimate the time needed for writing materials. The reasons are the same as explained above. Pay careful attention to the appearance of your materials, as this can contribute a great deal to the smoothness of the lesson. Captivating materials can save you a lot of time trying to draw your learners' attention. After you've got hold of all the basic principles of materials writing, let's come to the final part of instructions on how to manage a materials writing project. Some project might be the responsibility of an individual teacher. Others may be assigned to a team of writers. The management of the team involves the following issues: selecting the project team, planning the number of stages involved, planning the writing schedule, piloting the materials, design and production. Selecting the project team. How many people will take part in the project and what will their roles and responsibilities be? In a small in-house project, there may be 2 or 3 writers sharing responsibilities for all aspects of a project. In a large-scale project, however, the following people might be involved: project director, responsible for overall management of the project, for setting goals and ensuring the targets are met, and for liaising with all the parties involved. Writers, those responsible for writing all the components of the course. Media specialist, a person who can help with such aspects as use of audio-visual materials and computer software. Editor, a person who reviews everything the writers have produced and prepared, the final version of the materials for publication or duplication. Illustrator, someone responsible for preparing and selecting art and illustrations. Designer, the person who is responsible for the layout, type style, graphic, and the overall format of the materials. Planning the number of stages involved. A materials project always goes through several different stages of development. Typical stages might include first draft, comments on first draft, second draft, further comments, tryout of materials, and final versions of the materials. A writing schedule can now be developed with dates assigned for different stages in the process. For practical planning purposes, the different stages in the writing process need to be presented with the tentative time frame. Piloting the materials. Piloting involves trying out materials with a representative group of learners and teachers before they are made available for wider use in order to identify problems or faults in them that can be identified before they are used more widely. Design and production. Design issues refer to the layout of the text in art on each page. An effective design is the major factor in the reception and usability of materials. Production issues relate to the printing of the materials. So, that's all we have to share with you in this lesson. Hope you have a good time learning. Goodbye and see you in the next videos.